Entitled sister expected me, 31M, to live in her 400-square-foot studio while she played house in my apartment for her wedding image. Hey friends! Got a sec? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit subscribe. It's quick for you, but it really means a lot to us. Alright, let's dive into today's story. Original post. I never imagined I'd be writing something like this, but I need to get this off my chest and maybe get some perspective from people who aren't emotionally invested in my family drama. I'm Owen, 31M, and what started as a simple family dinner 3 weeks ago has turned into an all-out war that's threatening to tear our family apart right before my sister's wedding. Let me give you the backstory first, because context matters here. I've been working as a software developer for a major tech company in Seattle for 8 years now. When I started, I was making decent money but nothing spectacular. I lived in a cramped shared apartment with 2 roommates, ate ramen more often than I'd like to admit, and drove a 15-year-old Honda that made concerning noises every time I turned left. But I had a plan. Every raise, every bonus, every tax refund went straight into savings. I worked freelance projects on weekends, building websites and apps for small businesses. I missed parties, skipped vacations, and wore the same 5 shirts to work for 3 years. Why? Because I had a dream of owning my own place. Not just any place. I wanted something that was truly mine, something I could be proud of. My parents never owned their home. We moved from rental to rental throughout my childhood. I watched them stress about rent increases, deal with negligent landlords, and live with the constant uncertainty of not having a stable foundation. I swore I'd be different. 2 years ago, all that sacrifice paid off. I bought a 2-bedroom apartment in downtown Seattle. It's on the 14th floor of a modern building with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Elliott Bay. The view alone makes me smile every morning. Watching the ferries cross the water, seeing Mount Rainier on clear days, the city lights twinkling at night. It's 1,100 square feet, which might not sound huge, but in Seattle's market, it's substantial. The kitchen has granite countertops and stainless steel appliances. The main bedroom fits a king-size bed with room to spare. The second bedroom serves as my home office, complete with a standing desk setup and built-in shelving I installed myself. I've spent the last 2 years making it perfect. Every weekend, I'd tackle a project. I installed smart home technology throughout, automated blinds, voice-controlled lighting, a high-end security system. I built custom organizers for the closets, refinished the hardwood floors myself after watching countless YouTube tutorials, and even learned basic plumbing to upgrade the bathroom fixtures. This apartment isn't just where I live, it's the physical manifestation of years of hard work and delayed gratification. My sister Harper, 27F, took a different path, and I don't judge her for it. She's always been the free spirit of the family, the one who believed in living in the moment. She studied marketing in college, graduated with decent grades, and landed a job at a trendy agency in Capitol Hill. She makes good money, probably around $75,000 a year, but Seattle's expensive, and Harper has always had a taste for the finer things. Designer bags, expensive brunches, weekend trips to Napa, the latest iPhone the day it comes out. Her Instagram is a carefully curated feed of aesthetic coffee shops, sunset yoga sessions, and outfit of the day posts. She's been living in the same studio apartment for 3 years. It's tiny, maybe 400 square feet, in an older building that hasn't been updated since the 90s. The kitchen is basically a hot plate and a mini fridge. The bathroom is so small you can barely turn around in it. But the location is prime Capitol Hill, walking distance to all the trendy bars and restaurants she loves, so she's never complained much about it. The rent is $1,500 a month, which for Seattle is actually reasonable, and it allows her to maintain her lifestyle. 6 months ago, Harper started dating Marcus. She met him at a friend's engagement party. He was in the wedding party, she was a +1, and apparently they hit it off immediately. Marcus is 33, works in investment banking, and never lets anyone forget he has an MBA from Wharton. Within 5 minutes of meeting him, he'll work it into the conversation somehow. When I was at Wharton. Or, my Wharton professor used to say. Or, the Wharton network really opens doors. You get the picture. Marcus comes from money, old Connecticut money, the kind where they have a summer house and a winter house and use summer as a verb. His father is a senior partner at a law firm, his mother sits on 3 charity boards, and his sister is married to someone whose last name is on a building at Yale. They're the kind of people who have oil paintings of ancestors in their hallway and use the word provincial unironically. The engagement happened fast. 4 months into dating. Harper called me crying with joy, gushing about the 2-carat ring and the elaborate proposal at sunset on a private beach. I was happy for her, genuinely, even though something about the speed of it all made me uneasy. But Harper was glowing, Marcus seemed devoted, and who was I to rain on their parade? The wedding planning started immediately. Harper threw herself into it with the intensity of someone planning a royal wedding. She hired a wedding planner, booked a venue that cost more than some people's annual salary, and started a Pinterest board that had 17 different subcategories. Marcus encouraged all of it, saying things like, "You only get married once," and "My family expects a certain caliber of event." Which brings us to 3 weeks ago. Mom had invited everyone over for her famous Sunday lasagna dinner. These dinners are tradition in our family. Once a month, no excuses, everyone shows up. The dining room was warm and cozy, the smell of garlic bread filling the air, everyone catching up on the month's events. Dad was telling a story about a difficult customer at the hardware store he manages. Mom was fussing over whether anyone wanted seconds, and I was actually relaxing for the first time in weeks after a brutal product launch at work. That's when Harper clinked her wine glass with her fork, standing up with Marcus beside her. "We have something we need to discuss with everyone," she announced, and I immediately knew something was up. Harper's never been one for formal announcements at family dinners. "So," she began, glancing at Marcus for support, "as you all know, the wedding is in 4 months. Marcus's family will be coming out from Connecticut several times before then, for the engagement party, the rehearsal dinner, and of course the wedding itself." Everyone nodded along. This wasn't news. "The thing is," Harper continued, her voice taking on that tone she uses when she's about to ask for something unreasonable but wants to make it sound perfectly logical, "they have certain expectations. Marcus's family is very traditional, very conscious of appearances." Marcus cleared his throat. "My family values stability and success," he said, his tone suggesting we should all be taking notes. "They believe that how someone lives reflects their character and their prospects. First impressions are crucial in my world." I still wasn't following where this was going, but I noticed Mom and Dad exchanging glances. Harper took a deep breath. "So here's the situation. My studio apartment isn't going to give the right impression. It's small, it's outdated, and frankly, it's embarrassing. Marcus's mother already has concerns about me not being from their social circle, and if she sees where I live, she'll think I'm marrying beneath my station," Marcus finished bluntly. The room went quiet. Dad set down his wine glass carefully. Mom stopped fussing with the salad bowl. "So what are you proposing?" Dad asked slowly. Harper turned to look directly at me, and suddenly I understood exactly where this was going. My stomach dropped. "Owen has that beautiful apartment," she said, her voice bright and enthusiastic like she was proposing we all go for ice cream. 2 bedrooms, gorgeous views, modern everything. It's exactly the kind of place that would show Marcus's family that we're established, that we're ready for marriage." "Harper," I started, but she rushed on. "We were thinking, and Owen, just hear me out, what if we switched apartments? Just temporarily. From now through the wedding. 4 months, that's all. You could stay in my studio, we'd live in your place, and Marcus's family would see that we're serious, responsible adults ready to start our life together." The words hung in the air like a bad smell. I actually laughed, certain this was some kind of joke. "You're not serious." "I'm completely serious," Harper said, and the earnestness in her voice was somehow worse than if she'd been joking. "Owen, it's just 4 months. You're single, you work from home half the time anyway, you don't need all that space. We actually need it right now. You want me to move out of my apartment, the apartment I bought, that I pay mortgage on, that I've spent 2 years perfecting, so you can pretend it's yours to impress your in-laws?" "It's not pretending," Marcus interjected, his voice taking on a condescending tone. "It's presenting ourselves in the best light. In business, we call it impression management. In reality, we call it lying," I shot back. Harper's eyes started to water. "Owen, please. This is my wedding we're talking about. The most important day of my life. Don't you want me to be happy?" "Of course I want you to be happy," I said, trying to keep my voice level. "But Harper, you're asking me to give up my home. My actual home. So you can run a con on Marcus's family." "It's not a con," Harper protested, tears now rolling down her cheeks. "It's just showing them our potential. Who we're going to be, not who we are right now." Mom finally spoke up. "Owen, would it really be such a hardship? It's only for a few months, and it would mean so much to your sister." I stared at her in disbelief. "Are you seriously taking her side on this?" "I'm not taking sides," Mom said, though she clearly was. "I'm just saying that family helps family. When Harper needed a car in college, you helped her find one." "I spent a weekend helping her look at used cars on Craigslist," I said flatly. "I didn't give her my car and take the bus for 4 months." Dad rubbed his temples. "This does seem like a big ask, Harper." "It's not that big. Harper insisted. We'd take good care of everything. We'd even keep most of Owen's stuff there so it still looks like his style. We just need to be able to say it's our address, have mail sent there, host Marcus's parents for dinner there. And what happens after the wedding? I asked. Do you just move back to your studio and tell his family you decided to downgrade? Harper waved her hand dismissively. We'll figure that out later. Maybe by then we'll be ready to buy our own place. The wedding gifts should help with a down payment. You're planning to use wedding gifts to buy an apartment you're already pretending to live in? I asked, incredulous. Marcus stood up, his face reddening. I don't appreciate your tone. We're trying to start our marriage on the right foot, and you're being deliberately obstructive. I'm being obstructive? I stood up too. You're asking me to move out of my home so you can lie to your family, and I'm the problem? It's not lying. Harper shrieked. God, Owen, why do you have to make everything so difficult? This is why you're 31 and still single. You have no idea what it takes to maintain a relationship, what compromises you have to make. That stung. It stung because there was a grain of truth in it. I had been single for 2 years, my last relationship ending because my ex said I was too rigid, too unwilling to compromise. But this wasn't about compromise. This was about completely appending my life for Harper's charade. Maybe I'm single because I refuse to build relationships on lies, I said quietly. The dinner devolved from there. Harper cried harder, Marcus made increasingly hostile comments about family loyalty and what successful families do for each other. Mom tried to play peacemaker while clearly advocating for Harper, and Dad just looked tired. I finally stood up, threw my napkin on the table, and walked out. Harper followed me to my car, mascara running down her face. Owen, please. I'm begging you. Marcus's mother already thinks I'm not good enough. She made all these comments about me being in marketing, asking if I had any real career aspirations, questioning why I don't own property yet. If she sees that studio, it'll confirm everything she thinks about me. Then maybe Marcus should stand up for you instead of asking you to create an elaborate lie, I said. You don't understand, Harper said, her voice breaking. You've never been in love. You don't know what it's like to want someone's family to accept you, to want to fit into their world. You're right, I said, getting into my car. I don't understand why you'd want to marry into a family that requires you to lie about who you are. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, my phone hasn't stopped. Harper texts me daily, alternating between calling me selfish and begging me to reconsider. Mom calls every morning with a new guilt trip. Your grandmother would be so disappointed, she said yesterday, which is rich considering Grandma left me money specifically because she said I was the only one in the family with financial sense. Various aunts, uncles, and cousins have weighed in. About half think I'm being unreasonable, that it's just an apartment, and I should help my sister. The other half privately message me saying they understand but I should keep the peace for the family's sake. Marcus sent me a long email about family values and how in successful families, people make sacrifices for each other's happiness. He mentioned his MBA from Wharton 3 times in 2 paragraphs. He also implied that my unwillingness to help suggested I was jealous of their relationship and success, which is laughable considering I'm the one with the apartment they want to steal. But yesterday was the worst. Harper created a Facebook post in our extended family group about how devastated she was that her own brother wouldn't support her during the most important time of her life. She didn't explicitly mention the apartment situation, but the subtext was clear. Now I have relatives I haven't spoken to in years commenting about the importance of family support. The thing is, I keep second-guessing myself. Is it really such a big deal? It's just 4 months. But then I think about it more. It's not just the inconvenience of living in a tiny studio. It's the principle. It's the fact that they want me to participate in deceiving Marcus's family. It's that Harper has never once acknowledged how hard I worked for that apartment. It's that she thinks she's entitled to the fruits of my labor just because she's getting married. And what happens if something goes wrong? What if they damage something? What if Marcus's family wants to visit again after the wedding? What if they never want to leave? What if this is just the beginning of Harper expecting me to sacrifice my accomplishments to maintain her illusions? Update 1, 2 weeks later. Well, Reddit, your responses to my original post were overwhelming and honestly exactly what I needed to hear. Over 500 comments, and while there were a few outliers saying I should just help my sister, the vast majority confirmed what I deep down knew. This request was insane. Things escalated quickly after my first post. Harper's social media campaign intensified. She started posting old photos of us as kids with captions like, "Remember when family meant everything?" and "Missing the days when my brother had my back." My mom fell for it hook, line, and sinker, calling me crying about how I was destroying the family. But then something unexpected happened. My best friend Zoe got involved, and everything changed. I need to tell you about Zoe because she's the real hero of this story. We met freshman year of college when we were both computer science majors. She was brilliant at coding but surprised everyone junior year when she switched to business. I realized I like people more than computers, she said. After graduation, while I went into software development, she became a real estate agent. Everyone thought she was crazy giving up tech money for commission-based sales, but Zoe had a plan. She specialized in helping young tech workers find their first homes. She understood their needs, spoke their language, and most importantly, she understood the Seattle market like nobody else. Within 5 years, she'd become one of the top agents at her firm. She helped me find my apartment actually, and negotiated so hard the seller's agent looked physically pained by the end. When I told Zoe about the situation, she was furious. This is absolutely insane. Also, Owen, you know what the really crazy part is? For what they'd spend on this ridiculous wedding, they could probably put a down payment on their own place. That's when she got that look, the one that means she's formulating a plan. Give me Harper's number, she said. Zoe, I don't think. Trust me. I'm going to solve this whole mess, and everyone's going to thank me for it. Update 2, 1 month later. I have to continue this update because what Zoe did next was masterful. She called Harper that same day, introducing herself not as my friend, but as a real estate agent who'd heard through professional networks that a newly engaged couple might be looking for a housing upgrade before their wedding. Harper was immediately suspicious. Did Owen put you up to this? Who's Owen? Zoe asked innocently. I got your name from a wedding planner friend who mentioned you were getting married and might be in the market. Is this a bad time? The genius of Zoe's approach was that she didn't criticize or judge. Instead, she spoke Marcus's language. When she got them both on a coffee meeting, she came prepared with market analyses, investment projections, and a full presentation on building equity versus renting. The Seattle market is actually in a unique position right now, she told them. Interest rates are stabilizing, there's good inventory, and there are several first-time buyer programs you'd qualify for. Have you considered that instead of renting, you could be building equity? Marcus, Mr. MBA, was immediately intrigued. We've thought about it, but the down payment requirements are prohibitive. Have you looked into FHA loans? Zoe asked, pulling out her tablet. You only need 3.5% down. On a $400,000 property, that's $14,000. Between the two of you, with your combined income, that's entirely doable. She showed them listings, nice one-bedroom apartments, even some modest two-bedrooms in up-and-coming neighborhoods. She framed it not as settling for less than my apartment, but as making a smart investment. This building, she said, showing them a converted loft in Georgetown, is in a neighborhood that's gentrifying rapidly. You get in now, and in 5 years, your property value could increase by 30 to 40%. That's not just a home, that's an investment portfolio. The transformation in Marcus was immediate. Suddenly, this wasn't about impressing his parents with a fancy apartment. It was about showing them his financial acumen, his investment strategy, his business sense. Over the next 2 weeks, Zoe worked with them intensively. She got them pre-approved for a mortgage, negotiated with sellers, and found them a beautiful one-bedroom apartment with a den that could be presented as a second bedroom. It had exposed brick walls, original hardwood floors, and a kitchen with a breakfast bar. Not as nice as my place, but genuinely charming and, more importantly, actually theirs. Final update, 2 months later. Harper's wedding was last weekend, and I need to tell you how this all concluded because the transformation has been remarkable. After Zoe worked her magic, Harper and Marcus closed on their apartment 3 weeks before the wedding. The change in Harper was immediate and profound. She went from playing victim on social media to posting constantly about their investment journey and building our future together. She started a blog about being a first-time homeowner, sharing DIY decoration tips and budget-friendly renovation ideas. The wedding itself was beautiful but more modest than originally planned. They'd redirected some of the wedding budget toward their down payment, and honestly, the event felt more genuine for it. The ceremony was in a botanical garden, intimate and personal. The reception was at a lovely restaurant downtown, not the $500 per plate venue they'd originally booked, but warm and elegant. During my best man speech, yes, she still asked me to be her man of honor despite everything, I talked about growth, about building something real versus something that just looks good. Harper cried, but they were happy tears. Marcus's parents? They were impressed. His mother pulled me aside during the reception. I'm so glad Harper and Marcus are starting their marriage with such solid financial planning. So many young people these days live beyond their means, but your sister and Marcus are building something real. The best moment came when Harper found me on the balcony during the reception. Owen, she said, I need to apologize. Not just for asking for your apartment, but for not seeing what you saw all along. That apartment of yours, it's not just walls and a view. It's your achievement, your security, your pride. I had no right to try to take that from you. You found your own achievement, I said, gesturing toward Marcus, who was enthusiastically explaining their investment strategy to anyone who would listen. We did, she agreed. And you know what? It feels so much better than any lie we could have told. When Marcus's mom asked about our place, we showed her pictures and told her about our 5-year plan, our budget, our goals. She was genuinely impressed. She said it reminded her of when she and Marcus's father started out. Zoe gave a speech at the reception that brought the house down. Harper and Marcus didn't need to borrow someone else's success, she said. They needed to build their own. And that's exactly what they did. Their apartment might not have floor-to-ceiling windows or a view of the sound, but it has something more valuable. It's the foundation of their future, bought with their own hard work and planning. The family dynamics have completely shifted since then. The family Facebook group that Harper had used to paint me as the villain is now filled with her posts about home improvement projects and budget-friendly decorating tips. My mom has stopped guilt-tripping me and instead brags to her friends about both her children being homeowners. My dad pulled me aside last week and said, "You did the right thing." Harper needed to learn that lesson. Harper and Marcus just got back from their honeymoon, a modest trip to Mexico instead of the European tour they'd originally planned. They used the saved money to buy furniture for their apartment. It's IKEA, not Pottery Barn, Harper laughed when showing me pictures, but we built it together, and that makes it special. Marcus has become almost insufferable in a completely different way. Instead of mentioning Wharton every 5 minutes, he now talks about real estate appreciation and mortgage amortization. But there's something genuine about his enthusiasm that wasn't there before. He's proud of something he actually accomplished, not just something he's pretending. Zoe's real estate business has exploded. She got 3 new clients from the wedding alone, and Harper has referred 5 of her co-workers to her. She jokes that she should add family therapist to her business cards. Last week, we all had dinner at Harper and Marcus's apartment. It's small, the kitchen is cramped, and you can hear the neighbors sometimes. But Harper cooked dinner in her own kitchen, Marcus showed off the bar cart he'd restored himself, and the pride in their faces was worth more than any view of Elliott Bay. "You know what I realized?" Harper said as we were leaving. "If you'd given us your apartment, we never would have learned what we were capable of. We'd have started our marriage with a lie and a dependence on others. Instead, we started it with an achievement that's entirely ours. My apartment remains my apartment. Every morning, I still smile at my view, still appreciate my custom closets, still enjoy my home office. But now I appreciate it even more, knowing that I helped my sister find her own version of that satisfaction. To everyone who told me to stand my ground, thank you. You helped me see that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is refuse to enable their worst impulses." Harper didn't need my apartment. She needed the push to get her own. And to anyone facing similar pressure, remember that no is a complete sentence. Your achievements are yours. Your hard work is yours. And anyone who truly loves you will understand that and want to earn their own success, not borrow yours. The wedding gift I gave Harper and Marcus? A custom sign for their apartment that reads, "Built, not borrowed." Harper hung it in their entryway, and she says it reminds her every day that the best things in life are the ones you earn yourself. Zoe, the hero of this story, is now planning to write a book about her experience. Real Estate and Real Talk: How Housing Honesty Can Save Relationships. Harper has agreed to write the introduction, and I've been asked to contribute a chapter on setting boundaries. Funny how a request that nearly tore our family apart ended up bringing us closer together, just not in the way anyone expected. Sometimes the best gift you can give someone is the opportunity to discover their own strength.